Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Heaven on Earth. I am Joyful Star. And, we're just here today for a few minutes to talk about having peace in your heart and being calm and in positive and joy and focusing on the good things in your life that are working out. It can be really easy in times of trouble, in times when things aren't going the way you'd planned, to fall into negative emotions and feel despair and feel a lack of hope and love for your life and yourself when everything's not working out. And so I just want to share a few things that help me, that I do. And one of which for me is getting into nature. Find what you love, what is joy. Count 5 things you're grateful for in your life. I'm grateful right now to have housing with stable internet and protection from the weather. And I say that as someone that loves to go camping and just be away from people for weeks and enjoy that more than life around people. I enjoy my peace. I enjoy my solitude. I enjoy my quiet and all the noise of the world and the fear and the politics and the economics is stressful, especially when you're having trouble with economics or finances and relationships and other areas of your life. And so finding 5 things you're grateful for, whatever it is, being grateful for your problems and turning your problems into solutions is really what making lemonade out of life is all about. And so take a deep breath. That's one thing you can do any time of the day or night. And just hold it for a few minutes. Oxygenate your body and your brain and bring yourself back to stability. One of the things a lot of people get from religion is hope. Hope that things will work out in times of despair. And our fathers that created us, those that write this world in equation, they do love each and every one of us. And they do want things to work out for our highest good and development. And they always see a path forward where we can win. And so part of plugging into different religious and spiritual practices is to have that hope and that belief and that knowledge that it does all work out in the end, that there is hope and that we can find joy even in the darkest of moments. And we can see that sometimes it's the darkest before the dawn. But that things are going to work out in the end. I'm very, very grateful for the knowledge that I have. But I feel like it's been wasted on me in my life. because I have a lot of knowledge. But the actions and, I know what's right, but I don't always choose it. And I get very frustrated with situations that I have no control over. And I feel like there are other people involved that make their choices, and I have no say in the matter. My desires, my dreams, my wants all get put on the back burner for everyone else. And I was reading a Facebook post about firing everybody. Firing everyone else and their jobs and their responsibilities in your life for your emotions, for your happiness, and expecting anyone else to give a shit about you. You have to start setting boundaries for yourself. What's right for me? What makes me happy? What makes my life fulfilled and happy and whole? And fire everyone else. It's not your husband's responsibility or your boyfriend's or your kids or your mother's or your father's. That you are the only one in charge of and responsible for your emotions. That you are the person in charge of your life. You're the CEO. You're the director. You're the writer. You're the creator. And a lot of us create from our beliefs about ourselves, about our life and our relationships. I have a cat. That cat has expectations of being fed and having clean water and a clean cat box every day. And if I don't provide those things, the cat gets unpleased and doesn't feel loved and cared for. One of my cats is just sitting a couple feet from me. Okay. She was getting love a little bit ago, and she's used to getting love. She's used to having someone love and pet her. And so when I'm busy and I'm working or I'm typing or I'm doing things, she becomes very needy and wanting love. And so we have to set boundaries with ourselves and with everything in our life, including our cats, including our parents, our children, our spouse, our other significant others. And decide that we are going to be in charge of ourselves, our life, our emotions, our finances. My mother was raised very strongly in an age where the man handled all the money, and that did not serve her repeatedly in multiple marriages and relationships. And I was raised with that ideal that my job was to become a good wife, and not that I couldn't get an education, but that my primary role in this world was to get married and have children. That's how I was raised. That was my job on this planet. However, In the American society, we don't support women. We don't support pregnancies. We don't support raising of children, not in our economic system. If you have to call and check on your kids or your babysitter, you can get fired, because what matters is the company. They own you. You bow to them and get paid less than the men. Because the men, they got married and they have a wife and kids, so they should be paid more. You have to pay for a babysitter, so fuck you. He has a free wife to take care of his kids, so we have to pay him more so he can support that wife. Supposedly, that's the lie of our society. We don't support women and children. I know. I was a single mom. You get fired because your kid is sick again and you have to take him to the doctor. And it's your fault because you should have. They don't pay you enough to afford babysitters or pay for childcare. They pay women less, not more. And they make more restrictions on us. I repeatedly saw men checking on their families and their home life and not being spoken to about it. But women repeatedly get in trouble for it. At the same jobs. Oh, he's on the phone with his pregnant wife again. Oh, isn't he a caring, wonderful, sweet husband? Oh, you're on the phone calling your babysitter? That's another warning for you. We set a double standard in this country, and we don't care to reverse it. In fact, the Republican Party has very blatantly said, we control you, we own you. There will be no more abortions. There's not going to be any female health care except to make sure you get pregnant and pop out as many fucking slaves for the corporations as they can force you to, and raise them to be poor like you. The lie in America is that going back to the Federalists and the fundamentalists and the originalists was to help all Americans. That's not who founded this country. This country was founded by white men for white men who were for slavery. And that's who you just put in charge. White men, the country club crew. White men for white men. And y'all get to be the slaves. And as slaves, you get to pop out as many babies as they can fucking force you to in the name of God and Christianity and family values. I mean, you people are just fucking suckers at this point. While they steal all your wealth with tariffs that China pays. Yeah, suck that one up too. Yeah. Y'all will believe anything. I mean, Americans at this point are pretty much the stupidest people on the planet. I mean, you compete with the Africans with how stupid we are. Everybody had a big problem with Obama because he didn't have a legal birth certificate and he was really from Africa. But we're all totally the fuck okay with Musk being our de facto president. He's not even elected. And he's from South Africa, but it's okay with us. Because he took over Twitter and fired half the workforce. And then Monday morning was having to call people back up because he fired really important people whose jobs were required. Yeah, that's who we just put in charge of firing the entire federal government workforce. Because we didn't need any of those people. The only person we need working for the government is Musk. And we don't even need Trump. Just put Musk in charge, get rid of the entire government, sign over all the checks to the wealthy. And I mean, they don't have to pay any taxes, right? If you make more than $1 million, you get all the money scot-free. So it's just called steal from the slaves time. while we steal all their wealth and their rights. Yay! Go Elon! Go Elon! Go Elon! Oh, and kill the planet so we can all go live on a dead rock. Yeah. 7 million years out of the pond, Daddy. I know you think these monkeys can evolve, but So here's the thing. Like, if you're a wealthy person like Bezos, he thinks everybody's job is to enrich him. Okay. Now you know why it's harder for a wealthier man to get into heaven than a camel to get through the eye of a needle. Because by the time God strips away all the selfish bullshit and goes back to the piece of you that was love or above and came from heaven, yeah, ain't much left, dude. Yeah. I mean, 10,000 years in the penalty box for 100-year life. I mean, is that really worth it?
Oh,
And so other people just do the fire of hell and get burned out and still, it's kind of like reset, or you can do the burn in hell for, a couple thousand years. Sometimes that's not really a choice. So you learn. But it's less time than in the penalty box. Believe it or not, long enough in the penalty box, you're like, I'll take the fires of hell. Let's just get this over with. It's got to all burn off anyway, No, you do. Seriously, you're like, 10,000 years there, 3,000 years there, instantaneously burned to ash here. It's a tough choice sometimes. And really, is a 100-year life worth it? What do you think you're gaining? Wealth that you can't spend in thousands of lifetimes? Yeah, and that's how many lifetimes you're going to be. Yeah, It's not a good idea, guys. It's really, you're not gaining anything that you think you're gaining except to compete with other humans about who has a bigger piece of paper with numbers on it. Like, eternity is forever. Is that the badge you want to be? Because the badges you get, you're stuck with. You can get other badges that you can put on top of them, like, I killed 10 planets, but then I saved a bunch. So, then that's what people, they're like, wow, you learned. Good job. You evolved. It's a law in heaven. It's actually a formula. It's like an equation, and it means you have more output than you have input, and you grow also in the process. So it's not just, yeah. Math to English is not that hard, but it isn't like one word. Okay. There is no in the quantum that's a one word English, So evolve is pretty the closest word I think it's really good. And love or above. Vibrational scale of consciousness, Dr. David Hawking's Power versus Force, wrote it back in the 70s. Everybody go look it up. Okay. This shit is not that complicated. We humans way the fuck overcomplicate this shit. Here's the short and long of it. We're gods. You're 2 cups of God put in a human vessel, like a straw or a pen. And God's like, look, I can take little pieces of myself. Okay, so way back. Okay, first of all, what is heaven? Heaven is an energy realm where everything manifests instantly. Faster than I can speak, we think. And we manifest as fast as we think. And so what you can't have in heaven is untrained minds who vibrate lower than love or above. So anybody who thinks any thoughts of harm or that would cause harm to themselves or others will never be allowed entrance. Okay? For the safety of heaven and everyone in it. It did the rules. Nobody that's not love or above and doesn't have a trained mind can get back in. So all that spiritual voodoo, hoodoo, blah, really can be simplified to that. Okay. So Buddha was enlightened. He, many other masters of the East that learned the laws of karma and these things, they will all be able to get in. Now you have a Bible saying you can only get in through Christ, blah, 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 blah. The only way to heaven is through me. Why? Why? How is that truth to God? Especially considering most of this book is baloney. I will literally have to teach classes on how to read this book and see what's crap in it and what's real. So, because there is some truth in it and there's some laws in it. And that is true. Nobody gets into heaven except through Christ. What does that mean? Mathematically. My mouth is being weird. One side's working better than the other. So what does that mean mathematically? That you need Christ to get into heaven if you're Buddha or an enlightened master who's met all the rules and requirements. What does it mean? It means that heaven is an energy realm, that you have to meet these rules and standards to enter. However, the God that solves all the karmic equations for every being ever born on this planet is the father of the child that we call nowadays Jesus Christ. He was Yeshua in his life. And Christus meant enlightened, illuminated. And he was an enlightened master with much knowledge. And Buddha was actually his master and teacher in his life. If you know the truth of Christ. But Jesus was a child consciousness of a father. And he was beautiful. And he fulfilled all the laws and requirements so that his father could be the God who solves all the karmic equations for every being ever born on this planet, which has to be done. All your karmic equations have to be solved, resolved, and dissolved before you can go back to heaven. And you have to be a being that is perfect, who creates no negative karmic equations with anyone at any time for any reason. Okay. So, I mean, to God, everything is math and science. To the gods, to heaven, everything is math and science. Everything is equations. They don't speak English. They don't have mouths. I just heaven is not what we think it is. Okay. It is not a world of perfectly mowed lawns and white picket fences where everyone has a 2-car garage. That is not at all what heaven is. In fact, there's no physical in the realm in the way that you and I understand physical. They have physical there, but it's an energy realm. They don't have matter the way you and I have matter. We're in the backyard of heaven where we have time, because a physical object cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time in our realm. We need time. And we have time so that we can learn and grow and develop our consciousness and learn how to be beings that only vibrate at love or above and create no negative karma with anyone. That's what it means to be perfect and what you have to do to be heaven. Now, some of us, and I'm talking mainly about myself, are really, really bad. Okay. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. And we do the wrong thing all the time. We're like, Daddy, I'm in the backyard of heaven. What do you want? I have all the rest of eternity to be perfect. This is the backyard. This is where we're supposed to fuck up. I just make a lot of excuses for myself. And Daddy's like, well, you can solve all your own karmic equations then. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I hate know-it-all children that are smart asses. Okay, so he doesn't hate me. He loves me. I'm his sweet little daughter. But, I could do a lot better. And he would like me to do a lot better. He would like all of us to know better and do better. And be love or above. Being perfect is not nearly as hard as we make it. It is in the backyard of heaven in worlds that are so effed at, like this one. Sorry, guys. I can remember dozens of planets at this point in my life. I can remember other galaxies and universes. Okay. And being many other things besides a human. Human is not my favorite flavor in the universe. I'm sorry, guys. I know you think this evolved monkey stuff is really advanced, but it's not. Okay. Yeah. Humans not the most advanced. They just monkeys 70 million years out of the pond. We'll get there eventually, Daddy. I promise. We managed not to blow ourselves up with nuclear weapons, and now we're just killing the planet with pollution and enslaving everyone so we can get wealthy and, fighting over the land and economies and, money. Greed. We're killing the planet for greed. Yay! And digging up all the dead dinosaurs and killing ourselves with oil and plastic. Yay! Daddy's so proud of his little monkeys. 7 million years out of the pond. And Christians are the best because they'll believe any bullshit. You write it in this book, they'll believe it. Even though this book completely contradicts itself and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I could go on and on. I mean, the whole first chapter of Matthew is a lie. And Christ would never, ever have put his scriptures with the Old Testament as a book and called it his Gospels. Ever. If you knew Christ and what he actually taught. But Christ was actually married, not celibate, had several kids, not celibate. And there was a whole bunch of misinformation in this funny book about our brother. It's very funny. Ha ha, God laughing. God laughs at everything. Okay. Gods have 2 languages, sarcasm and math. And so it's either people think I'm crazy because I could sit here and laugh hilariously. And that's because Daddy and I talk to heaven and they're like, you'll never believe what our silly monkeys are doing today. Yeah. Daddy, I do believe it because you tell it to me. And I'm like, oh, man. Okay. But Daddies in heaven all laugh And everyone in heaven, whether they wear a dress and heels and have the most beautiful earrings or not, which, and, or even if they're human or not, so there are some daddies up there that are like dragons and unicorns and other things that you and I would not consider human, that are our daddies, and they're still our daddies. So everyone that's in the quantum is your daddy, and your mother is the planet that you got all your molecules, atoms, crushed God consciousness from. Okay, so that's your mother. I'm pointing down because the earth for most of us is down, and most of us believe it's round. Um, I get that not everyone believes the world is round, but most of us do. Okay, so if you believe in the Big Bang, let me give you a short history of God in the heavens. Okay, I'm using the term God loosely. It's a human term. It is not the fuck what they call themselves. Okay. Father is fine. You can call them a lot of things. They really don't care what you call them. They just like you to dial now and then. Yeah, Daddy, call home. Yeah, you haven't heard from you in most of your lifetime. Yes, yes. So, how and why the heavens create in the physical? Heaven is an energy realm where everything manifests instantly. And when it does, no one can be part of heaven until you are a trained mind who only vibrates at love or above in every thought and vibration of your being. And a long time ago, only gods in heaven could be grown in heaven. They call themselves the quantum, but um, the quantum minds. And only those of the quantum could be grown, only minds that were perfect and could live in that environment could be grown in that environment. But that was the favorite activity of the quantum, was to make more of itself. And there are two laws: be love or above, and evolve, which is actually a formula and an equation. And it means make more of yourself, produce more than you require to survive, which we do just by existing in heaven, and grow yourself into more of yourself so you can produce more in the future. So it was a beautiful place of love or above every moment of every day. And people love it. It's glorious. However, one day somebody had a thought. Since the glory of heaven was to make more of itself, someone had a thought. And that thought was, if I could separate a piece of myself from myself, I could grow it faster. And thus creating in the physical was birth, born, the idea, the concept of it. And that has developed over many, many cycles and lifetimes to the physical reality, holographic physical reality that you and I share. And so they write these programs in their God code, in their language of heaven. And when it is the beginning of the program, the Allah mind, the all mind for the all good, for the highest good, all in heaven and above and below. It's like a level of Godhood and consciousness. Anyway, so the Allah mind approved the code, and sang the songs that are the initiation or spoke the words that more beautiful than all the angels in heaven. And the program started. And at the moment that the void was created, all of the God consciousness that would become the framework for this ride, all the matter, was birthed into the void. And we call it the Big Bang on this planet. And the program runs for a period of time. And when the program is done, and all the God consciousness that was put on the ride to be grown is harvested out of the program solves, resolves, and dissolves. And the universe will experience what we call the big crunch. I've heard it called that. I think we need to come up with better names. But, Big Bang, Big Crunch. Everything goes back from whence it came to be more than it was. And it's beautiful to the gods. And they grow children so much faster now. And it's glorious. And they love it. And we've just lost some of the basic truths so that we understand what the rules are and what we have to do to return and how it all works. And, as Daddy says, this was all written by children doing the best they could with what they understood. None of these people knew calculus. None of these people knew about the Big Bang. None of these people knew what a sun was, made out of helium and hydrogen and burning gas, burning balls of gas. Nobody had the science, math, knowledge, and technology that we have now so that we can figure out God and prove God mathematically. It just wasn't all together on the planet, and we could understand theoretically. But a lot of the truths that were taught were all twisted. Like Jesus taught, honor thy heavenly Father and thy divine earthly mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth. You just take out a few words, twist a few things. His wife's a whore in this version. God laughs. I mean, they file this big under historical comedy. I mean, yeah, there's some truth in it, but I've read romance novels that have more accurate facts than this book. Seriously, people, it's really not the best. Yeah. Kind of boo-boo there. Okay, most Christians are completely unaware of what types of things were written on at the time of Christ. What kind of paper and goat skins and other skins and things they were using. That stuff didn't last. It had to be recopied, especially if it was something that was being handled and used. Every 15, 20, 30 years tops. So from the time of Christ to the time that the Romans organized the religion, anything that was written at the time of Christ would have had to been rewritten a minimum of 10 to 15 to 20 times in that 300-year period. On top of which, the Romans were, really big about killing Christians, taking their land, their property, their money, and, Christians had to flee to live and survive. So what happened 300 years later? Romans were expanding their empire, and they kept running into fucking Christians. And so the next best step was get baptized and organize the religion for them, because they were running into all these different factions that had different beliefs. Some Christianic factions were very earth based, living in balance. They were more communal. They were against divine earthly rulers, like the Romans claimed to be, that they were God given, God chosen. And so the Romans got baptized, put their, Christ on the shelf with all their other gods, and over the next 200 years held different councils and things to get rid of the Christian beliefs that they didn't believe in, and change the scriptures to what appealed to them. And so Christ went from being a married person who had children to being celibate, and his wife being a whore. Um, we are discussing the beautiful Mary Magdalene, who was not a whore and was his beloved wife. That is why he appeared to her first when he was resurrected. And some of this beautiful book was actually written by her hand, although her name is not on any of it. The Romans introduced a lot of really shitty stuff into the Christian religion, more as dogma and practice than true scripture written. But control of your wife and your household was part of the culture at the time in most of the societies and governments and politics. But that you could beat your wife, and that anything she did, you were responsible for. And so not only was it acceptable for several hundred years in different of the Christian practices and religions, it was a requirement to beat your wife and your kids before church on Sunday. There are even states in this country that had laws saying you had to stop beating your wife at 10 o'clock Saturday night so people could sleep. That's what we do in the name of Christ. And there isn't a Christian religion on this planet right now that I find teaching the truths that Christ taught 2,000 years ago. How do I know? I talk to the dumb butts that rate this world an equation, and they tell me things. So, what do we do? This podcast started with how to have peace in your heart during troubled times. And my heart is really, really troubled right now, because I see Satan essentially everywhere on this planet. Greed, lust, stealing of wealth and rights, the blinding of people with misinformation, so that they can steal more wealth and more rights and kill our planet with digging up the dead dinosaurs. The refusal of the human race to evolve past oil because they're greedy. You know, the wealthy on this planet right now actively working to help kill it on purpose and poison us with poisonous, crappy food for money, for greed, so they can make more money than they can spend in thousands of lifetimes. It doesn't give me a lot of peace. It doesn't give me a lot of hope. But Daddy's like, it's okay. It's not their first planet they've destroyed. And, eventually you got like 40 billion more years till the big crunch. So, try again next time. There's always hope. Like I said, I can remember other planets, other lives on this planet. And we could choose to save the planet. There's a lot of wealthy that have a lot of money and don't know what to do with it. Save the planet. Stop cutting down the mother's lungs in the Amazon. Stop killing all the animals on the planet and all the wild places. Save the planet. And then, start working towards evolving in our minds and our hearts so that we can become gods who vibrate at love or above and are perfect and can return to heaven gloriously like Buddha and Christ. And even better, Christ was what he was. Christ was an immaculate child who was slightly born outside of some of the karmic cycles you and I experience. He was 3 cups of God consciousness, where you and I are only 2. And so he had more advantages. And because he knew better and he was better, he was expected to do better. And for us that are born with all the challenges and disadvantages that we are born with, when we learn and do better, we actually get more points than he did, because it's harder for us. And we weren't born with the advantages and the knowledge and benefits that he had. And so there are amazing rewards that we can get in heaven. Turning ourselves around and making choices that will benefit and bless millions and billions of lives on this planet, saving the democracies and the planet, using the wealth that you got, maybe not such in a good way, to do good, to improve things, to help make this planet a graduation spot where millions of souls come and graduate to heaven for thousands of years. That's a glorious title and award to wear in heaven for you and your Father. The Fathers love us so much, and they want in every heart and vibration of their being for us, the people of this planet, and the leaders of this planet to evolve, to make the choices that will transform this planet for the next 1,000 years into a world of slavery and greed and destruction and killing it, or saving the world and making it a graduation point where thousands and thousands and thousands, millions of souls will graduate into heaven from. That's a glorious title to have. And that's possible for some of the leaders on this planet. I love you all, my brothers and sisters. God loves us all. And I'm one of his biggest pains in the ass. Trust me. He loves me, but he's just like, oh my God, child. I just want to help everybody. He's like, yeah, that's not exactly the best way to do it. I like, hey, sorry, daddy. Anyway, I love you guys. Have a beautiful day dancing on this magical planet. Hugs and kisses to everyone. His special hugs and kisses to Nettie Pooh. We love you too. You're our brother too. Okay. Just kind of wrap that up over there. Okay, we're not gonna lick. I just, I know you want beachfront condos. I got it. Nobody's saying anything. Just, wrap that shit up, dude. Thank you. We love you, Emperor Xi. You are glorious. And Kim Jong-un, he could do a little better. And Putin, we need a better name to call you, my lord, because you one of the smartest men on this planet, and I honor you. You truly are a brilliant, brilliant mind. So we love and honor all of you and all the amazing things that you could do and do. And the beauty and amazing enlightenment that we can bring into this world. Let's think about it. Let's not kill the planet today. Yeah, the little things. Peacocks. Have a beautiful day dancing on this magic